Part 143. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1422. Ren Rongrong came out of the conference room and walked quickly towards Lu Yun's office. She walked to the door of Lu Yun's office and tapped the door twice. "Please come in," Lu Yun said. Ren Rongrong pushed the door open. Lu Yun looked up and saw Ren Rongrong, and asked, "How is it?" Ren Rongrong shook his head slightly and said to Lu Yun, "It seems that their willingness to cooperate is not very high." "Where are they?" Lu Yun asked. "Still in the conference room." Lu Yun stood up and said to Ren Rongrong, "Let's go, I'll go with you." Ren Rongrong said yes. Ren Rongrong was in front and Lu Yun was behind. The two of them walked towards the conference room. The two people in the conference room were standing in front of the window smoking and whispering. The door of the conference room opened and Ren Rongrong walked in. The two of them looked at when Ren Rongrong arrived. Behind her was a woman who looked to be in her early 30s, with a beautiful face and an elegant temperament. She had shawl hair with neatly trimmed hair tips. The two of them secretly thought that this was probably Miss Lu, a well-known person in the financial circle, but they were not sure. Based on her age and beauty, she should be Miss Liu's assistant. The two people quickly walked back to the conference table and put out their cigarettes in the ashtray. Ren Rongrong first introduced Lu Yun to the two men and said, "This is our Mr. Lu." Only then did the two of them conclude that this was Ms. Lu herself. Then introduce the two men to Lu Yun and tell her that they are Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi from the Financial Business Department of Yangtze Petrochemical. Lu Yun stretched out her hand, shook hands with them one by one, and said hello, hello. Both of them noticed that Lu Yun's fingers were long and her nails were carefully trimmed. When her hands touched lightly, they felt that her hands were soft. When she came closer, there was a faint fragrance on her body. Faintly visible. "Please take a seat." Lu Yun smiled and signaled to them, and both of them sat down. Lu Yun is very famous in the financial circle, but she is also a bit mysterious, so mysterious that it seems like a legend. Everyone knows that there is a Miss Lu in the Jinmao Tower. She controls tens of billions of dollars in funds, and many domestic financial institutions organizations want to cooperate with them. Wanting to cooperate with them was one thing because of the huge amount of money they controlled. More importantly, domestic financial institutions at that time wanted to go out and test the waters on Wall Street. If they wanted to go to Wall Street, going through Lu Yun's company was the only way to go. Shortcut. She almost never attends any public events, but her company itself is an American-owned company, with direct access to several major Jewish plutocrats on Wall Street. At the same time, her relationship with relevant domestic departments is also very good. Her Chinese identity, allowing her to play a very good role as a bridge in Sino-US financial exchanges, so relevant departments also rely on her. Especially in financial practice, people who have dealt with her say that her style is contrary to her appearance. Her vision is unique and sharp, and her moves are fast, accurate and ruthless. People who have worked with her admire her most. It's her credibility. As long as she promises you, in actual operation, even if it brings losses to her, she will not retreat even if she has an excuse to retreat. This has earned her a good reputation in this industry. Those who work in finance really make a promise, and what the two parties negotiate are all invisible and intangible things, but this is invisible and intangible, but in the end, what is actually implemented is real money, which is a huge benefit. No matter how perfect the regulatory regulations are, no matter how perfect the contracts and agreements seem to be, in fact they are all lagging behind and there will be many loopholes. The financial market is changing rapidly, and there are many decisions that cannot wait for you to implement them into the text before continuing. The operation relies on a word from both parties on the spot, and hundreds of millions of funds may be released. If you want to exploit loopholes that are beneficial to you, you can certainly exploit them, but when you gain your benefits, What you lose may be your credibility. As a person without credibility, no matter how much money you have, you will not be able to do anything in this industry. Will also become a street rat. This circle is very big. There are tens of millions of people working in the financial industry around the world, but it is very small. Once you become a savage, it will be difficult to clean up your image. Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi looked at Lu Yun. They thought that a company like this would extend an olive branch to them and seek cooperation with them. This made them murmur in their hearts. Ren Rongrong reiterated the intention of cooperation between the two parties to the other party. While Ren Rongrong was talking, Lu Yun looked at the two people opposite him quietly. She saw the doubts and hesitation in the other party's eyes. After Ren Rongrong finished speaking, he also looked at the two people opposite him. Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi looked at each other. Mr. Mao said, "Mr. Lu, manager, of course we hope to cooperate with you, but to be honest, we don't know much about this industry. The reason for the existence of our department is also very simple, and the business is also very simple, that is, hedging, reduce the business risk of the enterprise." Hedging is not without risks, Mr. Mao Ren Rongrong said. In the financial market, if you only know how to defend, you will eventually find that you can't even defend your own private territory. Mr. Shi smiled and said, "What Manager Ren said is correct, but if we rashly enter an area that we are not familiar with, the risk will probably only be greater. What we want to cooperate with you is the PDA that Zhengzhou Commercial Institute will launch." How could you not be familiar with PDA? Yangtze Petrochemical itself is one of the largest suppliers in China. Otherwise, we would not cooperate with you, Ren Rongrong explained. Of course we know about PDA, but as for this cooperation model, as Manager Ren told us before, we advance and retreat together in the futures market. We are not very clear on how to advance and retreat together. Is it buying together and selling together? Mr. Shi asked. Ren Rongrong wanted to say something else. Lu Yun waved her hand. Ren Rongrong stopped talking. Lu Yun asked, "President Mao, President Shi, I want to know something. If it is convenient, I hope you can tell us." "Mr. Lu, please tell me," Mr. Mao said. "How much funds can you mobilize?" Lu Yun asked straight to the point. "About 1 billion, said Mr. Mao. Lu Yun nodded and said, "President Xi asked how the two parties can cooperate and whether they buy and sell together. Of course not, our cooperation model is very simple, that is, step-by-step operation and segmented cooperation. We guarantee that you will make profits. You are responsible for building momentum for us." "What do you mean?" asked Mr. Mao. Lu Yun stood up, walked to the whiteboard in the conference room, picked up the whiteboard pen, and drew a horizontal line on the whiteboard. Lu Yun pointed at the horizontal line with the pen in her hand and said, "Mr. Mao, Mr. Shi, everyone, we are all peers, and I think you all know that the financial market will never be in such a situation." Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi nodded. Lu Yun drew a curve that fluctuated up and down along this horizontal line. Lu Yun said that the more realistic situation should be like this. Some people say that it is like an electrocardiogram. This statement is very vivid, and it is indeed like an electrocardiogram. Moreover, it is indeed just like the electrocardiogram, the curve of the financial market is never cold. Behind every fluctuation it represents the human heart. However, every time it fluctuates, it gathers too many people's hearts, enough to drown a single person in it, making people unable to feel that it is the beating of people's hearts, thinking that it is just a cold curve. Therefore, some people have invented various methods and indicators to try to analyze this curve, thinking that this curve has rules to follow. The market school and the technical school are actually trying to eliminate the root and seek the wood. In the financial market, every fluctuation is irrational. How can you use rational means to analyze it coldly? Mr. Lu, how can you say that every fluctuation in the financial market is irrational? If so, does that mean that every textbook we learn is wrong and waste paper? Asked Mr. Shi. Lu Yun looked at him, smiled and nodded. She said, if Mr. Shi graduated with a major in finance, then my answer may disappoint you. My answer is yes. All financial textbooks are waste paper and history books. They are summaries of existing financial phenomena. People follow what they say, and the financial market is changing with each passing day. New phenomena appear every minute of every day. Wall Street has brought together so many of the smartest brains. The reason why it is awe-inspiring and why they can control the lifeline of the world's finance is precisely because they never study the past, but only focus on the future. The past is every financial. The professors in the department can see it clearly, but in the future, even if there are 10 dozen professors from the finance department together, they will not be able to understand it. I can guarantee that if those professors from the finance department are allowed to do practical operations, they will lose all their money. Do you know that in this world, who is the person who causes the highest proportion of losses and loses the most money? Fund managers, especially those who have fund managers with professor and doctorate titles. What they are good at is not trading. In fact, they use these titles and a bunch of theories that are actually useless paper to deceive investors into handing them money. If you look at their actual performance, it is appalling. That's a bit absolute, right, Mr. Shi said. Lu Yun smiled and said, no, I have my basis for saying this. I dare say that if you ask any fund manager to take out their transcripts and compare them with ours, they will not dare. If we compare, they will be disappointed. I am ashamed to say that if we put these two report cards in front of their customers will immediately become our customers. Take our company as an example. When we recruit people, we only restrict one type of people. That is, we don't recruit people with PhD or master's degrees in finance. I recruit people from other majors and with any academic qualifications. I once joked with them. If we go by academic qualifications, our company may have the lowest academic qualifications in the entire Jinmao Tower. I even have high school students here. Why don't we recruit doctors and masters in finance? It's because they are too deeply poisoned and it is difficult to change. What I need here are warriors who can fight, not brokers who recruit funds. Our goal is how to provide our clients create profits, not losses for them. I rely on commissions to enrich my pockets, kill this company, and then go on to kill the next one. When Lu Yun was talking, she saw that Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi looked a little shy. Lu Yun smiled and said, sorry, if I say this, I won't offend both of you, right? Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi both blushed, but Ren Rongrong was secretly laughing. Before this, how could they not have done a background check on the other party they were planning to cooperate with? Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi, both of them have serious PhDs in finance. He has a doctorate in finance and is the department boss of a large state-owned enterprise. He holds billions of funds in his hands. Lu Yun said so much to kill their arrogance first. This is also to lay the foundation for future cooperation. A person who thinks highly of himself will often people who make their own decisions have difficulty cooperating. On the battlefield, if he leaves his friendly troops behind, he may be the first one to escape. Thank you Shi-chun, 2 fishes 1 up and 1 down, for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. I am a fat man with potential stocks. Thank you Hoo-hoo, humorous tribe, gradually enlarging pupils, he Shi Yitan, Qingdao La Sun, why is it the real name? Book Friends 2019018025224314, YSY 2002, and the monthly ticket of Dora Eamon. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Stay healthy everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1423. Mr. Lu, don't you study finance? Asked Mr. Mao. No, Lu Yun said, I haven't attended a single day of finance class. In the eyes of you academics, I'm just a wild kid. What do you study, Mr. Lu? Mr. Shi asked. I majored in Chinese in college, Lu Yun said. President Mao and President Xi both laughed, and Lu Yun also laughed. She asked, do you think that those who learn Chinese are better at telling stories? But I really don't rely on storytelling. My first client has been with me for 9 years now. All my clients, there are very few losses in the middle, which is why I say, I don't need to develop customers. In this world, rich people gather together. I don't need to promote myself. My clients will automatically introduce their relatives and friends to me. I also work hard to help them make money. This is the reason why they like me and are willing to follow me, is that they cannot maintain a relationship for such a long time by telling stories. Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi nodded, feeling that what Lu Yun said was right, and he was not bragging. Rich people are not fools. You can deceive them for a while, but you can't deceive them forever. Tens of billions of dollars in capital cannot be accumulated overnight. Yes, every customer has an inspection and verification process for the entrusting party. You must rely on your own strength to speak for yourself. The funds a customer invests in you are directly proportional to his trust in you. Lu Yun was talking, holding a whiteboard pen in her hand, and had already sat back at the conference table. She looked at Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi and said, one advantage of learning Chinese is that it brings me closer to the origin of things. How do you say this? Mr. Lu, can you explain it? Mr. Shi didn't understand what he said. He felt that talking about science or philosophy could get closer to the origin of things, which he could accept. Talking about Chinese could get closer to the origin of things, but Mr. Shi couldn't agree with anything else. Okay, let me give you an example. You must have heard of a novel called The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and you must also know that there is a history book called The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. If you ask someone who studies history, he will definitely tell you, Three Kingdoms is closer to the real history, but if you go to the street and ask a random person, do you know anything about the Three Kingdoms? The answer is yes. In China, there are probably not many people who don't know anything about the Three Kingdoms. Even illiterate people can tell a few stories about the Three Kingdoms. But the Three Kingdoms they are talking about are the Three Kingdoms in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, or the Three Kingdoms in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The Three Kingdoms in Three Kingdoms. It must be the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, right? Lu Yun stood up again and walked to the whiteboard again. She asked Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi. Tell me, which one is more real, Three Kingdoms or the Romance of the Three Kingdoms? No need to ask, of course it's the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Mr. Shi said. Then the Romance of the Three Kingdoms is a novel. Mr. Shi, have you read Three Kingdoms? Lu Yun asked with a smile. No, Mr. Shi said, I'm not a history student, so why should I read that? Then have you read The Romance of the Three Kingdoms? Lu Yun asked. I must have read this. There are no boys who haven't read The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Mr. Shi said. Yes, this goes back to what I said. Lu Yun pointed to the curve on the whiteboard and asked Mr. Shi, if this is the daily chart of the stock market or futures market, we know that if there are more people buying, the curve will be upward, if there are more people selling, the curve will go downwards, and how the curve goes is determined by the amount of funds between the buyer and seller, right? Mr. Shi nodded. This question was too childish. So, among the buyers and sellers, Mr. Shi, do you think more people have read The Romance of the Three Kingdoms or The Romance of the Three Kingdoms? Lu Yun asked. Mr. Shi was stunned. Lu Yun smiled and said, there must be a lot of people who have watched The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, right? So for this disc, is it meaningful for us to study The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, or is it meaningful for us to study The Romance of the Three Kingdoms? Professors from the Department of Finance, they do that is, taking Romance of the Three Kingdoms and studying a group of people who grew up watching Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It looks very rigorous, but in fact it has nothing to do with it. I said before that every fluctuation in the financial market is an irrational behavior, just because it is formed by millions of people who read The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Don't think that it is different abroad, and it is the same abroad. That's the group of people who grew up watching Robin Hood or Star Wars, simply put, the emotional group of people who make up the vast majority of our financial markets. It's interesting, Mr. Mao said. It is because of the existence of such a group of people that there is an emotional financial market and market, Lu Yun said. Otherwise, take a look at why the US dollar in the foreign exchange market changes every month during the 10 minutes when the US non-agricultural index is released. The fluctuations will be so violent that you can't explain it in any rational way. Will the actual value of the US dollar change so much in those 10 minutes? Of course it is impossible. This is just a concentrated reflection of emotions. The collapse of the financial market has always been caused by the collapse of confidence, but the collapse of the financial market recovers very quickly. Why? Because everyone sees this collapsed market and knows that it is overreaction. Everyone knows that it is overreaction. Everyone will rush to enter the market again, trying to grab the lowest point, and the market becomes inexplicable again. It only took a short time for the entire Asia to survive the Asian financial crisis. If you look at many current data, the risk is actually higher than during the Asian financial crisis, but who cares? As long as no speculators enter the market again and create that kind of panic atmosphere, the market, no matter how high the risk, is still safe. The violent shocks in the financial market caused by emergencies, such as the 9/11 incident in the United States, can be easily recovered faster. If the crisis is caused by the real economy, it will take at least twice as long to recover. We who work in finance should never hope for a peaceful age. For us, the more chaotic the better. The more chaotic, the greater the fluctuations in people's emotions and the more violent the market reaction. Our opportunities will also be there will be more. I can guarantee that if all the financial markets in the world are closed, the world will definitely be better. We have all gone back to the farming era. There are pastoral scenes everywhere. Everyone works at sunrise and rests at sundown. How could the world not be better? But why can't we go back? Because of human desires, and the financial market is driven by human desires, which was created for the sake of profit, and we are involved in it to stir up the muddy water. Only by stirring up a pool of spring water can we have a chance. Okay, Mr. Lu, how do you want to stir it? Mr. Shi asked. Lu Yun picked up the whiteboard pen and drew a line above and below the straight line. She asked, in actual operation, is this range relatively the safest? Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi nodded. Okay, then let's cooperate. You will stay in this range and ensure that you can maximize your profits. Lu Yun pointed at the area outside the upper and lower lines with a whiteboard pen and said, we are right here, and this is our profit space. Mr. Lu, please be specific, Mr. Mao said. Lu Yun looked at them and said, the specifics are very simple. Whether it is long buying or short selling, when we negotiate and agree to make a move together, you put all your funds into it and make an upward or downward trend on the market trend. We will not enter the market at this time, in order to attract the other party to invest more funds and compete with you. Don't worry, no matter how much money you have, invest it. If the two sides fight fiercely and are at a stalemate, we will definitely not leave it alone. We will enter the market in time and use heavy money to invest. At this time, the other party is already exhausted. Our progress the field is a fatal blow. There is another situation, that is, when you have already made a trend, we will also enter the market. We will enter the market close to your take profit line and increase the trend. No matter what situation occurs, you will take profit line, take profit, and leave the market, then leave it to us. This is what I call step-by-step operation and step-by-step cooperation. Mr. Mao and Mr. Shi nodded frequently. They both felt in their hearts that if this was the case, of course they could cooperate. Such cooperation, Lu Yun was right, would indeed ensure them to maximize their profits. If that's the case, Mr. Lu, let me take the liberty to ask, where is your profit point, Mr. Shi asked. Lu Yun pointed to the crest of the wavy line and said, after defeating the opponent or establishing your trend, we will make the distance between the crest and the trough as long as possible. The longer we make it, the richer our profits will be. Profits will be taken quickly. But we cannot enter the market too early. If we enter the market too early, the other party will be prepared and they will gather more funds, which will turn a quick battle of annihilation into a protracted hand-to-hand battle. Lu Yun said, we cannot give the other party time to mobilize large funds. President Mao and President Xi understood. They thought it could be done, but they said nothing on the spot. Afterwards, everyone chatted with each other for some time, and then Mr. Mao and Mr. Xi stood up and left. Ren Rongrong escorted them to the elevator and returned to Lu Yun's office. She asked Lu Yun, what do these two people mean? Lu Yun said with a smile, they are state-owned enterprises. You think they can make the decision on everything? Why don't you give them a time to ask for instructions and report? Or do you think they have to tell you in person, we can't make the decision on this matter? We need to go back and ask for instructions. Ren Rongrong understood, but she still didn't give up and asked, Mr. Lu, look at their bosses, will they agree to cooperate with us? You have to agree even if you don't agree, Lu Yun said. Why are you so confident? Ren Rongrong asked in surprise. We have sent them a clear signal that we are eyeing PTA compared with becoming our partners, they are more afraid of becoming our opponents, Lu Yun said. Don't worry, they will work hard when they go back to convince their superiors. On the one hand, they will also conduct background checks on us. The more they investigate, the more afraid they will be of becoming our opponents. Ren Rongrong nodded. Unless they never get involved in PTA, but is this possible? Lu Yun asked. I understand, Mr. Lu, Ren Rongrong said. The next day, Mr. Mao called Ren Rongrong and told her that Yangtze Petrochemical was very happy to become a strategic partner of Lu Yun's company. On the PTA project, the two sides had strategic cooperation. Mr. Lu and manager Ren were welcome. Visit their Yangtze Petrochemical company for guidance. After putting down the phone, Ren Rongrong stood up and walked to Lu Yun's office. Thank you Hanja Ancient Cave for the tip. Thank you to the evergreen Yan Dadi, Lao Chantang, gradually enlarging pupils, and book friend 201701130912185553 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1424. Originally, every day after school, Xiang Nan and her two best friends, Zhou Ruyi and Zheng Xingxin, would play for a while on the school's newly expanded playground, talk about various characters in the class, and talk about their own affairs before going home. But these days, Zheng Xingyan always leaves the classroom as soon as school is over. When Xiang Nan and Zhou Ruyi walk out of the classroom, she has disappeared. Xiang Nan and Zhou Ruyi can only be alone on the playground. While walking, we chatted. There is no way, Zheng Xingxin's seat is in the first row, Xiang Nan is in the fifth row, and Zhou Ruyi is in the second to last row. None of them is as close to the classroom door as Zheng Xingxin. Zheng Xingyan is actually not short-sighted, but her mother, every time she sees the class teacher, pulls her and tells her one reason or another. Either Zheng Xingyan is small and is blocked by the classmates in front of her, so she cannot see the blackboard, or the blackboard is on the side. The classmates were too noisy, which affected Zheng Xingxin's class. Every time the head teacher meets Zhang Xingxin's mother, she gets confused, but there is nothing she can do about it. We are all teachers. How can we be more trustworthy than those from Zhejiang University? Besides, our confidence is different. Her college entrance examination scores back then were higher than mine. For the most part, people think they have the most say in education. The head teacher could only follow Zhang Xingxin's mother's wishes and change Zhang Xingxin's seat to the current seat, and also adjust his desk mate according to her wishes. Zhang Xingxin's mother could only let the head teacher off. Xiang Nan and Zhou Ruyi were walking on the playground. Zhang Xiangbei and Sun Xiangyang were playing football in the middle of the playground. Since having Sun Xiangyang as his best friend, Zhang Xiangbei no longer followed Xiang Nan and the others. Xiang Nan and the others, who were in junior high school, they stopped jumping with rubber bands, and began to think that the game was childish, and they no longer needed Zhang Xiangbei to be a pillar for them. What's going on with Zhang Xingxin now? Why did he disappear as soon as school is over? Xiang Nan said. I'm also surprised. Didn't you notice that at noon, he rarely played with us, and he just sat alone and read a book, Zhou Ruyi said. Xiang Nan also remembered that this seemed to be the case. Because Xiang Nan was very busy at noon, she always had to go to Zhang Xiangbei's classroom to see what Zhang Xiangbei was doing, so she was often absent. In her classroom, when she came back, everyone was already lying on their desks and taking a nap, so she didn't know about this situation, but Zhou Ruyi said it was, and Xiang Nan remembered that it seemed like it was. Which of us can't get along with her? Xiang Nan asked. I don't have one, do you? Zhou Ruyi asked. Xiang Nan said, neither did I. The two of them guessed for a long time, but couldn't guess the reason. Xiang Nan had already decided in his heart that he would ask Zhang Xingxin tomorrow. Xiang Nan, look. Zhou Ruyi called to Xiang Nan and pointed to the middle of the playground. Xiang Nan saw several men in her class snatching Zhang Xiangbei's football. They formed a big circle and passed the ball to each other. Xiangbei and Sun Xiangyang were running back and forth in the middle of the circle, trying to break the ball, but they couldn't. They were so angry that their faces turned red, and the boys were still laughing and joking. Xiang Nan ran in that direction and shouted loudly, what are you doing? The boys looked this way, shouted Feng Xiangnan is here, and dispersed in a rush. Xiang Nan walked over and said to Zhang Xiangbei, why can't you even watch your own ball? Zhang Xiangbei looked at Xiangnan, but his face was full of displeasure. He asked Xiangnan, Zhang Xiangbei, what's wrong with you? Sister, can you please leave my business alone? Zhang Xiangbei said. I'm your sister, who cares if I don't care about you? Xiang Nan asked. Zhang Xiangbei muttered, my classmates are all laughing at me. Xiang Nan asked, why are you laughing at me? Zhang Xiangbei lowered his head and refused to say anything. Sun Xiangyang was on the side, bouncing the ball with the instep of his feet and laughing. Xiangnan asked Sun Xiangyang. Sun Xiangyang, tell me, why are all your classmates laughing at Zhang Xiangbei? They say you are Zhang Xiangbei's eldest wife. Sun Xiangyang laughed loudly as he spoke, glared at Xiangnan, and Sun Xiangyang said quickly. They are talking, I didn't say, how could I say Zhang Xiangbei? You asked me before I said it? The next morning, during the recess of the first class, Xiang Nan saw Zhang Xingxin walking out of the classroom, and she immediately followed her out, calling out to Zhang Xingxin in the corridor. Zhang Xingxin glanced at Xiang Nan, and immediately looked away with guilt, not daring to look at Xiang Nan, and said, I have to go to the toilet. I'm going to, Xiang Nan said. Zhang Xingxin had no choice but to go with Xiang Nan. Zhang Xingxin hurriedly finished using the toilet and wanted to escape back to the classroom immediately. Unexpectedly, Xiangnan was already waiting for her at the door of the toilet. When he saw her, he said, Zhang Xingxin, I have something to ask you. Zhang Xingxin knew in her heart what Xiang Nan was going to ask her. She lost her confidence and could only stand obediently. Xiang Nan pulled her, and the two of them stood aside. Xiang Nan asked, Zheng Xingxin, why have you disappeared after school these past few days? What were you doing? Zheng Xingxin murmured, I'm going home, my mother won't let me stay outside. At that time, your mother hadn't gotten off work yet. How could she take care of you? Xiang Nan asked in surprise. Zheng Xingxin sighed and said, my ghost mother, she said that there is only 1 month left before the high school entrance examination. She has already asked for leave from school and goes home early every day. I am miserable. I am stared at by her every day. I wrote a guarantee letter with more than 20 guarantees listed in it. It was clearly written by her, but she asked me to memorize it and sign it, which turned it into my guarantee. Xiongnan chuckled, how funny, what did she ask you to promise? I'm so annoyed and you're still laughing, Zheng Xingxin said with a grimace, you don't know how extreme she is. Why is it too much? Do you know what Article 16 is? What is it? Xiang Nan asked. Zheng Xingxin looked at Xiang Nan's back, leaned into Xiang Nan's ear and said to her, promise not to date Zhou Ruyi. Ah, Xiang Nan was startled and asked, why? It's not because I think her academic performance is poor, but because I'm with her, I'm afraid of being affected by her, Zheng Xingxin said. This is too much, Zheng Xingxin. You are number 1 in the class and no one can catch up with you. Does that mean you have to break up with the whole class? Isn't this ridiculous? Xiang Nan shouted. Zheng Xingxin hit Xiang Nan and said, this damn thing was requested by my mother, not me. By the way, don't tell Zhou Ruyi, or she will hate me to death. I beg the high school entrance examination to pass quickly now, I am out of the sea of suffering. I know, I won't tell, Xiang Nan said. She thought of something and asked, by the way, Zheng Xingxin, did your mother not let you play with me? No, I promise Jibi Mariko-chan, there is definitely not, Zheng Xingxin said. Zheng Xingxin did not lie. The letter of guarantee her mother wrote for Zheng Xingxin promised not to date Zhou Ruyi, but it did not include Xiang Nan's name. Her parents had discussed this. They also knew that Zheng Xingxin, Xiang Nan, and Zhou Ruyi were best friends. Apart from these two classmates, Zheng Xingxin would not have any more interactions with other classmates in school. Zheng Xinyin's parents carefully analyzed Zheng Xinyin's two classmates. They felt that Zhou Ruyi's grades were below average in the class. Zheng Xinyin would only be affected by her when he played with her. It's possible that she wouldn't have gotten better without Zheng Xingxin's influence. After all, it is easy for people to become bad, but it is difficult to become good. They even analyzed Zhou Ruyi's future. According to Zhou Ruyi's grades in the high school entrance examination, she would definitely not be able to go to one of the top 8 key high schools in Hangzhou. If she went to an ordinary high school for 3 years, she would probably be able to get into it. If you pass 3 majors, you're pretty good. After graduation, you can barely find a job, get married, and have children, and that's it. Coupled with his mediocre appearance, it is obviously impossible for him to achieve any miracle and change his mediocre destiny. Zhou Ruyi's parents are ordinary civil servants in municipal agencies. They are almost 40 and have not even become a deputy section chief. Her father is only a deputy chief section officer, equivalent to a deputy section chief. They themselves are still struggling to climb the ranks. There is no ability to help Zhou Ruyi. No matter how they calculated it, Zheng Xinyin's parents felt that it was not worthwhile for Zheng Xinyin to be friends with Zhou Ruyi. Maybe in the future, Zhou Ruyi would become a burden for Zheng Xinyin who needed help. Therefore, in the guarantee letter, it is necessary to write a promise not to date Zhou Ruyi. Analyzing Xiang Nan, they felt that Xiang Nan was exactly the opposite of Zhou Ruyi. She had too many possibilities. Xiang Nan's grades were above average in the class, and she herself seemed to be the type with a high IQ. Zheng Xingxin is with her, and the possibility of being led astray by her is very small. In addition, her mother is the general manager of Jinxia Group. If her family is rich, there are various possibilities. According to Xiangnan's own grades, plus her mother's mobility and connections, even if she can't get into Hangzhou, for number 2 middle school and Suizhen middle school, the key point of getting into the top 8 is certain. When it comes to the college entrance examination, even if she fails to pass one or two of the exams, she still has the ability to go abroad and attend a first-class university, just like Xiaofang. Although Xiaofang has good grades, she is not a government-sponsored international student. The tuition of more than $10,000, plus living expenses, the cost of $80,000 to $100,000 per year is not something ordinary people can afford. Just go to the south. Coupled with Xiangnan, it can be seen that, like her mother, she has been a beauty since she was a child. In this world, if you have money, power, and beauty, if you can get one of the three, you will have the possibility to change your destiny. Like her mom, why can I be the general manager of Jinxia Group without even going to a serious university? No matter how they calculated it, both of them felt that Zhang Xingxin would not suffer a loss if she made friends with Xiangnan. Therefore, they did not ask Zhang Xingxin to promise not to make friends with Xiangnan. Instead, they encouraged her to make friends with her. Some of my colleagues at school are already buying houses. Buying a house is also part of Zhang Xingxin's parents' family plan. The Jinxia Group's house is the best quality house in Hangzhou. Zhang Xingxin's mother even thought of waiting. When she wanted to buy a house, she had to go to Xiangnan's mother to help with discounts. Many humming intellectuals in China often behave impassionedly, as if they were the princes of 10,000 households in the world, but those who want dirt are only the princes of 10,000 households of others. They themselves have never hesitated to be the princes of 10,000 households. They do not excel by learning. If you can't get an official position, then go and don't give up for 5 buckets of rice and curse. Thank you, Tin Soldier, for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly votes from Huaxin Yongxiao, Dao Tin Soldier, Daos Hung 123, Shiyo 201909172026529888, Jinwu Lanji, Bei Liang, Shiyo 1611222135011799, and Shiyo 201701130912185553. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1425. Then what should you do? Xiangnan asked Zhang Xingxin. I don't know, I feel so embarrassed. Zhang Xingxin sighed, and she bowed to Nan. Please, help me cover up, don't let Zhou Ruyi know. After passing the high school entrance examination, I will live here. It's time to go to school. My ghost mother can't take care of you even if she wants to. Xiangnan, I'm begging you. Okay, Xiangnan said, just relax and go to your Hangzhou number 2 middle school. If you fail to get into Hangzhou number 2 middle school, it will be a disaster. Yes, Xiangnan, what will happen if I fail to get into Hangzhou number 2 middle school? Zhang Xingxin looked worried. Then I will be really miserable. That ghost mother of mine will fight me tooth and nail. I have no choice. Even if I can help you take the exam, your score will definitely be worse than yours. Let's go, let's go. The only way you can do it is to stab your buttocks with a hanging beam. Or should I buy the injection for you? Xiangnan said. You, Zhang Xingxin said with a smile, why am I so miserable? Xiangnan pushed Zhang Xingxin towards the classroom and told her that you have to fight for your own destiny, and every second you can fight for is worth every second. I need to fight for my own life, but you don't, Zhang Xingxin asked. Who said that my mother would also force me? Xiangnan said, but compared to your mother, she is a little witch. After you say that, I have to love my mother. Oh, so, my life is still miserable. Zhang Xingchen sighed again. The two people walked to the door of the classroom and met Zhou Ruyi. Zhou Ruyi looked at them and asked, "What are you doing?" Zhang Xingchen didn't say anything, and slipped into the classroom from behind Zhou Ruyi. Xiang Nan said to Zhou Ruyi, "It's okay. Let's have some daddy together." After school was over in the afternoon, Zhang Xingchen left immediately, but she stood at the door of the classroom and waited for Xiang Nan and Zhou Ruyi to come out. She said hello to them before leaving. Zhou Ruyi asked, "Why are you in such a hurry?" Ask her, Zhang Xingchen pointed to Xiang Nan, threw the problem to Xiang Nan, and left on her own. Zhou Ruyi looked at Xiang Nan, and Xiang Nan told her that Zhang Xingchen's mother had taken leave, and she and Zhang Xingchen were not afraid of difficulties in the high school entrance examination. As long as they were willing to climb, she was probably waiting for Zhang Xingchen at the school gate with her watch on her hands. If Zhang Xingchen dares to be 1 minute late, her mother will probably turn into Tang Santang immediately. Oh, she has so many worries about being a top student. I really sympathize with her. Zhou Ruyi sighed. Your parents don't care about you, Xiang Nan asked. They gave up on me a long time ago and left me to fend for myself. My dad said that there are only 8 key high schools anyway. If I can't get into the top 8, then 9th and 39th are the same, so let me take the exam casually. Zhou Ruyi said, I am now a happy third-year junior high school student, and I look at you all very hard. It's great. I want a dozen parents like this, Xiang Nan praised. The two people walked out of the school gate and unexpectedly found Tan Shahen's car parked at the school gate. Tan Shahen was sitting in the driver's seat, holding lipstick and applying lipstick carefully in front of the rear-view mirror. Xiang Nan pulled Zhou Ruyi and nodded her head downwards. Zhou Ruyi understood. The two men bent down and approached Tan Shahen on tiptoe. When they got to the car door, they squatted there, stretched out their hands to the south, and slapped the car window. Tan Shahen was startled, and she exclaimed "Ah," and her hands shook. The lipstick slid from the lips to the roots of the ears, and a streak of red lipstick cut half of the face in half. When Xiang Nan and Zhou Ruyi saw it, they couldn't help laughing. Tan Shahen glared at them angrily. Only then did Xiangnan realize that she was in trouble. She quickly opened the car door and said, forgive me, Mom, I'm sorry." Tan Shahen looked at herself in the rearview mirror and couldn't help but burst into laughter. She took the tissue box in the car and threw it to Xiang Nan. She turned her face and said to them, "The troublemaker is responsible for wiping it loose." Xiang Nan and Zhou Ruyi quickly stood side by side outside the car, hurriedly helping Tan Shahen wipe the lip gloss on her face. Zhou Ruyi said while wiping, "Auntie, your skin is so good, it can be broken by a blow." Tan Shahen burst into laughter again, reached out and patted Zhou Ruyi on the head, and said, "The little devil is really good at talking, and he can even blow a bullet. Where did he learn that?" Zhou Ruyi giggled, "Seriously, really, Auntie, you can break it with just a blow. Do you want me to try it with a blow?" Tan Shahen smiled, took the tissue box from Xiang Nan's hand, and cursed lightly, "I'll spare you, get in the car." Xiang Nan raised his thumb towards Zhou Ruyi and praised her for being a good flatterer. The two of them quickly got into the back seat. Tan Shahen took a tissue and wiped the lip gloss on her face in the mirror. Xiang Nan asked, "What day does it take for my mother to pick me up today? I had nothing to do in the afternoon, so I came over." Tan Shahen said, "Why, it can't be done." Okay, Xiangnan said quickly. "Tell me what you want to eat, and I'll take you to eat," Tan Shahen said. Xiangnan turned to Zhou Ruyi and asked, "What do you want to eat?" Zhou Ruyi said, "I want to go home for dinner, and my mother will go home and start cooking. If I don't eat, she will be unhappy." "Let's go together." Tan Shahen looked at her watch and said, "It's still early. Now go over and finish eating. Auntie will take you home. If you pretend to eat some, I won't be happy if you don't eat. The two little girls giggled, raised their heads and nibbled their ears for a while, then Xiang Nan and Tan Shahen said, we want to go to Hashangao to eat steak. Tan Shahen said okay, then let's go eat steak. She started the car and asked Xiang Nan, Mom, can't we wait for my brother? Yao Fen came with me. She has already taken Bai Bei home, Tan Shahen said, saying oh to Xiang Nan. The three of them went to Hashangao Steakhouse on Huancheng West Road and ate steak and croissants. Tan Shahen drove Zhou Ruyi home first. When they arrived at the gate of Zhou Ruyi's community, Zhou Ruyi got out of the car and moved southward from the back row to the passenger seat. On the way home, Xiang Nan asked, Mom, will you not let me play with Zhou Ruyi? What's wrong? Tan Shahen asked, you two have a conflict. Do you need Mom to help you mediate? No, I'm just asking, will you ask me not to play with Zhou Ruyi? Xiang Nan said. Why do you ask this question? Tan Shahen was surprised. I'm just asking casually, Xiang Nan said. Then tell me first, why should I not let you play with Zhou Ruyi? I think Zhou Ruyi is very nice. The little girl has a cheerful and healthy personality, Tan Shahen said. But her grades are rubbish, Xiang Nan said. Don't say that, Nanan, Tan Shahen shouted sternly, how could you have such an idea? Tan Shahen saw a temporary parking spot on the roadside ahead. Tan Shahen pulled over the car, turned around, looked at Xiang Nan and asked seriously, tell me, Nan, why do you have such an idea? Tan Shahen was so solemn that she shocked Xiang Nan. Oh Mom, it's not that I have such an idea. Of course I won't stop playing with Zhou Ruyi. Even if you don't allow it, I will still play with her. Xiang Nan was anxious, and she explained, it's some classmates in our class. Parents, they just don't want their children to play with classmates with poor grades. Xiang Nan didn't dare to say she was Zhang Xingxin's mother. She could only talk to Tan Shahen about the parents of some classmates. When Tan Shahen heard what Xiang Nan said, she knew that it was not Xiang Nan's intention. She took a long breath and her tone became tactful. She said to Xiang Nan, this is wrong, Nanan, do you think that if someone with better grades than you, such as Zhang Xingxin, wouldn't play with you, would you be sad? Yes, Xiang Nan nodded. Then there are people with better grades than her, such as Aunt Xiaofang. Do you think she has the right to despise Zhang Xingxin? Aunt Xiaofang took you to Sanya. Is Aunt Xiaofang very good to the three of you? Tan Shahen asked. Xiang Nan nodded. Tan Shahen continued, if Aunt Xiaofang despises Zhang Xingxin, who has better grades than Aunt Xiaofang, and also despises Aunt Xiaofang, this kind of contempt will be endless. Everyone will be in the position of despising and being despised, you say, is it right? Xiang Nan is right, Mom, you are right. Moreover, this academic performance is only one aspect of a person and does not represent the whole person. Everyone has many aspects. If you have good grades, you can look down on those with poor grades. Zhou Ruyi is taller than you and Zheng Novelty is high, does it mean that she can despise you too just because she is tall? There are students who are very strong, some have double eyelids, and some have dimples when they smile, which is very cute. Everyone uses their own advantages to despise those who are not as good as themselves in this aspect. Then the contempt will be endless. Everyone, if you look at other people, they are all enemies and have no friends. Tan Shahen said, nodding to the south. The three of you are very close now, and your mother is very happy to see you. If you have no friends, that is what your mother will be worried about. You are in junior high school now. When you get to high school and college, you will have new friends, one person, each. There will be friendships at each stage, so cherish them. These will be beautiful memories for you in the future. If a person looks back on his life when he is gray-haired and finds that every stage of his life is blank, he doesn't even know how to write the word friendship, that is the most sad thing. It can be said that it's a life in vain. Why do you say your life was in vain? Xiangnan asked. Humans are social animals that live in groups. They need to interact with others. Otherwise, think about it, if in your life, except for your immediate family members such as your mother and grandparents, you don't know anyone else, or we met but didn't interact with each other. In your life, if there were no Zhang Xiangbei, Uncle Zhang Chen, and Xiao Zhao, and Xiao Fang, and Heng Mei, etc., no grandparents in Baibei who were so kind to you, and no Uncle Wang Min's Heng, what would have happened? Isn't it boring to make such delicious cakes and milk tea specially for you? Yeah, Xiangnan said, I still often think of Aunt Xiao Zhao, and I cry when I think about it. Tan Shahen stretched out her hand, touched Xiangnan's head, and told her that this was the right thing, that she should be grateful and learn to be kind to others. Xiangnan unbuckled his seat belt, leaned over, hugged Tan Shahen, and said to her, Mom, I love you. I think you are the best mother in the world. Tan Shahen smiled and said, just because I didn't tell you not to play with Zhouruyi. No, there are many, many more, Xiangnan said. Tan Shahen hugged Xiangnan and said to her, Mom loves you too. We Nanan should be good and kind children. We should not discriminate against anyone, but we should do our best to help others, okay? Xiangnan said yes, I will, Mom. Thank you Daos Hung 123 for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for the monthly tickets for the chair in the world, Zi Zheng said, Skull, Daos Hung 123, around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, Shi Yitan, Book Friends 201101290211211816, Book Friends 20170110113091218553, Brother Bing, Tianying 1978, Road, and Fantasy in the Wind. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish everyone a happy family reunion and all the best. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1426. June 12, 13 and 14 were the time for the high school entrance examination in Hangzhou. Tan Shahen arranged the work in the company in advance and said hello to Lu Ligan. She planned to spend these 3 days with Xiangnan, every day pick her up for the exam. The day before the high school entrance examination, after dinner at home, Tan Shahen told Xiangnan about her plan. Xiangnan became anxious when he heard this. He clasped his hands and bowed to Tan Shahen. Xiangnan said, Mom, please, you, old man, should go about your daily schedule. I will be very nervous if you drive me to and from me after entering the examination room, I'm afraid my mind will go blank. Tan Shahen scolded, You are nervous. Do you think your mother is not nervous? Mom is more nervous than you. I have been nervous for more than a month. No, I must be with you at this last moment. The two sides were in a stalemate, and Mrs. Tan helped to mediate. She proposed a plan, saying that Tan Shahen would send them to the school gate every morning. After they were delivered, they went south to take the exam. Tan Shahen went back to work. She and Lao Tan waited at the school gate. South. Are you unnecessary? I stay at my grandparents' house on Saturdays and Sundays. Why can't I stay at my grandparents' house these days? It only takes 4 or 5 minutes to walk to school from there. Do you still need to pick me up? Xiangnan looked at them and continued, You know, how many parents who are as nervous as you will be picked up and dropped off tomorrow, and the school gate will be blocked by cars. You made it so grand. I'm not nervous. They are all attracted by you. I'm so nervous, please let me go. Tan Shahen stared at Xiangnan angrily. She originally wanted to scold you, what do you mean by this, what do you mean by being a neurotic parent, and what do you mean by begging us to let you go? But when she thought about it, what Xiangnan said was actually reasonable. The back door of the Jingxiu home community was Baokuta Experimental School. Xiangnan went to the exam from there every morning. After the exam, he could go home to eat and rest, and then go there in the afternoon. Taking the exam saves the most time and energy. The time saved can also be used for review. People live far away from the school, and they have to book rooms in hotels near the school these days. Parents and children live there. Xiongnan lives next to the school, so there is no reason to come to a hotel that is close to the school and arrange a drive. Let's go, I'll take you to your grandparents' house. Tan Shahan stood up and said to Xiongnan. Before the two of them went out, Tan Shahan's cell phone rang. It was Zhang Chen's mother. She picked up the phone, and Zhang Chen's mother shouted. Zhen, why haven't you sent Nan Nan here yet? The high school entrance examination is tomorrow. Nan Nan needs to go to bed early today. Tan Shahan said, okay, we are ready to go out. Tan Shahan looked at her mother, and the two of them smiled bitterly and shook their heads. It seemed that she had shaved her head and had a hot head, so she was worrying about it in vain. When she worried, she complicated simple things. Tan Shahan took Xiangnan to Zhang Chen's parents' house. Zhang Chen's mother was telling Zhang Xiangbei that her sister is going to take the high school entrance examination in the next few days. You should turn off the computer and don't turn it on. Don't distract her. Seeing Tan Shahan and Xiangnan coming in, Zhang Chen's mother took out a copy of Hangcheng Daily and said to Tan Shahan, Zhen, come and take a look. This recipe is so good. I plan to make it every day. Tan Shahan took a look and saw that what was published in the newspaper was a recipe for the high school entrance examination, which really suited the occasion. Lao Zhang took the newspaper and took a look at it. He said no, it was too plain. Whoever wrote this was just talking nonsense. This exam requires a lot of brains and physical strength. If you do this, you will get hungry halfway through the exam. No way. No. Zhang Chen's mother said, what's wrong? What was published in the newspaper was wrong. They are experts. They don't listen to experts, but they still listen to you. Experts have said that you should eat light food. What a bullshit expert, Lao Zhang scolded. The articles in this newspaper are all written by people like a stick, cheating royalties, and they are very ordinary. Chairman M, he is commanding thousands of troops, and he still needs to eat braised pork meat fills the brain. By the way, Zhen, isn't that one of you from a newspaper office or a reporter? Ask him if what's in the newspaper can be trusted. If the newspaper is not trustworthy, then the TV is trustworthy. Zhang Chen's mother was not convinced and retorted, don't you watch TV every day to learn how to grow vegetables? Can any of the things I grew after learning from them be eaten? What I have now is not all learned from Xiao Zhao's father. When it comes to experts, he is the expert who practices the true knowledge, Lao Zhang said. The two of them were at loggerheads over this recipe. Tan Shahan quickly said, I'll call and ask. She really called Su Wenhui and asked, Su Wenhui, what recipe for the high school entrance examination published in your newspaper is reliable? Su Wenhui laughed, Mr. Tan, you can trust our newspaper only with the words Hangcheng Daily. It is indeed a newspaper in Hangzhou. We can't even trust the weather forecast below. It's not accurate, let alone the others. When Tan Shahan and Su Wenhui talked on the phone, they turned on the speakerphone. Zhang Chen's mother and Lao Zhang heard it. Tan Shahan hung up the phone, and Lao Zhang smiled and said, did you see that? This is an honest person telling the truth. Zhang Chen's mother threw the newspaper aside angrily and cursed, I almost got cheated, what a lousy newspaper. Okay, forget it, Nanan, tell me first, what do you want to eat, and grandma will cook it for you. As the old saying goes, only by eating well and sleeping well can you do well in the exam, Zhang Chen's mother said. Both Lao Zhang and Tan Shahan laughed. Lao Zhang asked, which old saying says that only by eating well and sleeping well can you do well in the exam? That means good job. Isn't what I said just an old saying? What is Nanan doing now? The top priority she has to do now is to do well in the exam. Is that wrong? Zhang Chen's mother said plausibly. Tan Shahen and Xiang Nan said that they had been nervous for more than a month, and it was true that Xiang Nan was about to take the high school entrance examination. Tan Shahen felt that she was more nervous than Xiang Nan, and that she was participating in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix selection. Still nervous. But thinking about it, Tan Shahen felt that starting from the high school entrance examination, Xiang Nan seemed to be about to bid farewell to her childhood. After bidding farewell to her childhood, she did not grow into a teenager, but seemed to be about to become an adult and participate in the society. There is competition, social competition. What else can be more fierce than the competition between the high school entrance examination and the college entrance examination? It's not even comparable to adults' professional title evaluation and advanced evaluation. If you can't do it once, there will be a second time. The high school entrance examination is just one time. If you don't do well in the exam, you won't even have a chance to make up for it. After the high school entrance examination, there is almost no chance to breathe, and we have to enter the intense preparation for the college entrance examination. The intensity and pressure of this kind of competition are really not commensurate with their age. It is no wonder that some children cannot bear this kind of pressure and collapse. If they withdraw from this kind of competition early, it is basically equivalent to withdrawing from this kind of competition early. In today's society, what else can a person who has not gone to college do? Xiang Nan is a strong person, she never said it, but Tan Shahen can see that she is also working hard, and maybe she is secretly competing with Zheng Xingxin. However, Zheng Xingxin's parents are both university teachers, and they can do it anytime, anywhere. Everyone can tutor Zheng Xingxin, who can tutor Xiang Nan. I can't even read Xiang Nan's textbooks, let alone tutor her. For this reason, Tan Shahen felt a little sorry for Xiangnan. Last summer, Xiaofang helped tutor Xiangnan. As a result, Xiangnan's grades improved a lot. It seemed that she still had the potential to learn, Xiaofang also said so. This year, Xiangnan almost didn't need Tan Shahen's urging. She went to participate in various tutoring courses on her own. Unfortunately, her original foundation was relatively poor. From elementary school to the second grade of junior high school, she almost got there by playing around. Tan Shahen knew that Zheng Xinyan had already completed all the courses in the third grade when she was in the second grade of junior high school. She was still taking new courses in the third grade of junior high school, so she thought it was just reviewing. This was probably her father. Who would make a study plan for Xiang Nan when her mother made it for her? Fortunately, Xiang Nan worked hard. Xiang Nan worked hard, and Tan Shahen looked on with a little heartache. She even regretted that she didn't listen to Zhang Chen and simply sent Xiang Nan to the United States to attend high school. See if Zhang Xiangbei is as nervous as Xiang Nan. But now, it's too late to think about anything. There is only one road left in Huashan, so I have to bite the bullet and take it. While Xiang Nan was working hard, Tan Shahen was not idle. Although the high school entrance examination was a very serious matter and everyone was staring at it. There was no back door, but Tan Shahen felt that there must be a back door. In this she doesn't believe in human society. Everything is a system and there is no human relationship. For this reason, Tan Shahen invited the office director of the education committee to dinner, and invited the director of the education committee to dinner. The director and Tan Shahen turned out to be friends, and she also knew why Tan Shahen was looking for her. If the school's admission score is not met, then I, the director, can't do anything. I can't help even if I want to. This is a tough one. However, if she reaches the score line, I can still push her at the critical moment, and it will not be considered a mistake. What do you mean? Tan Shahen asked. Do you know how many people have one score in the entire Hangzhou? The director said. Although you have reached the school's admission score, you have passed the threshold to study in this school and obtain the qualification to be admitted, but not everyone who meets the score is yes, you can enter this school. Each school has a quota limit for admissions. If there are too many people who pass the score line and exceed the quota limit, you have reached the school's admission score line, and there is nothing you can do. You can only go to the next school. To put it simply, for example, although you have passed the score line of Hangzhou No. 2 Middle School, if there are too many people who have passed the score line, you are likely to go to Suizhen or Hangzhou High School. I understand, it's just that I can't make it to the first place. I can make it to the second or third place. I don't have such high requirements. I just want to be in the top 8, Tan Shahen said. Then your home should be facing south and be able to get into the top 8 scores, the director said. Does that mean that as long as our Nanan reaches the top 8 score line, we will definitely be able to study in the top 8 and will not be assigned to the 9th school? If that happens, it will be a disaster, bad, Tan Shahen said. The director looked at her and smiled. After a while, she said, "What do you think, my Mr. De Tan? Thank you, Evergreen Emperor Yan, for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, half drunk and half awake, no matter who asked me, I don't know. Thank you for your monthly votes for Zhenyu, Skull Mole, Fengdong Xiukan, Lulu 6717 P11, gradually enlarging pupils, small samples are bad, and Everlasting Emperor Yan. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1427. After the high school entrance exam, Tan Shahen was very anxious. She asked Xiang Nan how she did in the exam. Xiang Nan looked at her with a blank look on her face. When she asked again, Xiang Nan became anxious. She said that she seemed to have failed the exam and made many mistakes. When Tan Shahen heard this, she became even more anxious. Xiangnan couldn't get a result from asking here, and Tan Shahen was worried every day. She called the office director of the Municipal Education Commission every day to ask if the results were out. At the beginning, the director smiled and said, "Mr. Tan, you are too impatient. Well, your house cannot be built in a day. It also takes time for us to review and approve the papers. Don't worry, I will tell you as soon as I come out," the director said. Having said that, Tan Shahen couldn't help it, and she still made calls every day. When the director received the call, the first sentence he said was no, and both of them left. Tan Shahen said, "Okay, director, come out and tell me." The director joked, "Mr. Tan, if we call the hotline every day, will people who don't know have any ideas after seeing it?" "Whatever, as long as the results come out, I can call you every hour," Tan Shahen said. A week later, Tan Shahen called the director at almost noon, but the director still said no in the afternoon. The director called and said to Tan Shahen, "Congratulations, Mr. Tan. Your family, Feng Xiangnan, scored 496 points in the exam, passing the score line of the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University." Tan Shahen let out a long breath, and the director said, "What a pity, it's just 1 point away. 1 point away from being in the top 14, and being in the top 14 is 497. Okay, director, the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University is fine. I'm very satisfied. By the way, director, is there no problem with the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University?" Tan Shahen asked. "That's right," the director said, "in number 491 of the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University, your family Feng Xiangnan passed the exam by 5 points. Even if you take 491, Mr. Tan's daughter can still get into it." Thank you, Tan Shahen was filled with joy and thanked her repeatedly. Tan Shahen stood up with a smile, walked out of her office with a smile, and walked into Lu Ligan's office with a smile. Lu Ligan and Lao Tan saw the joy on Tan Shahen's face. Before Tan Shahen opened her mouth, Lao Tan asked, "To Nance Hong. Everyone in the company knows what Tan Shahen is worried about these days." Tan Shahen smiled and nodded, "I won, the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University." "Haha, our place is really related to Zhejiang University," Lu Ligan shouted when he heard this. "Tan Shahen, we are going to treat you." "Okay, thank you also. It's hard work sending Nan Nan to make up lessons every week," Tan Shahen said. "I don't want to talk about these vain things here. The main thing is that Xiangnan's efforts have paid off," Lu Ligan said with a smile. "I mean it, I really want to thank you," Tan Shahen said. "On this matter, how many people have spent so much effort on it, it is more painful than doing a project. You are right, the result is good after all." When Tan Shahen said that, her eyes were red. Lao Tan said, "A treat is necessary, and thank you is also necessary." Tan Shahen returned to her office. She called home first and told MRS 10 and MRS 10 about the matter. Both of them were very happy. Tan Shahen then called Zhang Chen's parents home. Zhang Chen's mother answered the phone. Tan Shahen told her that Nan Nan had been admitted to the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University. "Really? That's great. Fifth, Zhenzhen, is the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University fifth?" Zhang Chen's mother asked. During this period, all of them had memorized the names and order of the top 8 key high schools in Hangzhou by heart. Tan Shahen nodded. She said yes, the fifth one, yes, it was the fifth one. "Nanan, Nanan, come and answer the phone quickly, there's good news." Zhang Chen's mother called. Xiang Nan walked out of her room and asked, "Who is it?" "Your mother," Zhang Chen's mother said. As soon as Xiang Nan answered the phone and called her mother, Tan Shahen started crying. She cried and said to Xiang Nan, "Nan Nan, congratulations, you have been admitted to the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University." Xiang Nan was stunned for a moment, then she smiled and asked, "Then why are you crying, Mom?" "It scared me. I thought I failed the exam." Tan Shahen smiled and said, "Mom is so happy." "Mom, do you know how many scores Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Ruyi scored?" Xiang Nan asked. "My mother really doesn't know. I'll call her later and ask for help," Tan Shahen said. "Tell me their admission ticket number." "Okay, thank you, Mom." Xiangnan told Tan Shahen the admission ticket numbers of Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Ruyi. After hanging up the phone, Tan Shahen was about to call the office director of the education committee and ask him to help check the results of these two people. Someone knocked on the door and Tan Shahen said, "Please come in." The door opened and it was Yao Fen. Yao Fen said to her, "Mr. Tan, someone is looking for her." A person walked out from behind Yao Fen. Tan Shahen was stunned when she saw it. This person was Zhang Xingxin's mother. Tan Shahen and Zhang Xinyan's mother knew each other, but they didn't have any friendship. They met when Tan Shahen attended them. During the few parent-teacher meetings in Xiangnan, Zhang Xinyan's mother was very excited every time she saw Tan Shahen. To be polite, Tan Shahen's impression of her was neither very good nor very bad. But MRS Tan had a very bad impression of her. Every time MRS Tan came back from attending a parent-teacher meeting in Xiangnan, she would complain to Tan Shahen the next day, and the target of her complaint was Zhang Xingxin's mother. She said that this person was too overbearing and turned a parent-teacher meeting into a family meeting. If there was a parent-teacher meeting, the couple would come together. Just come. Once you talk about it, it won't be finished. Everything is about their daughter. From beginning to end, other parents have no chance to ask the class teacher about their children. It seems that only their daughter is the most important. The head teacher was also pitiful. When he saw them, he was like a little daughter-in-law seeing her parents-in-law. The other parents couldn't say anything about them. Even if they said one thing about them, the two couples would say 100 words in return. I never saw anything like this. The parents of Zhejiang University talk about it and talk about it. From my point of view, the face of Zhejiang University has been completely disgraced by you two. Mrs. Tan kept nagging her, but Tan Shehen could only smile and remain non-committal. Tan Shehen did not expect that Zheng Xingxin's mother would actually come to find her. Tan Shehen quickly stood up and greeted him with a smile. It turns out that this is Qiaxi Academy, Xiangnan's mother. I only knew during the school history display that Qiaxi Academy was the predecessor of our Zhejiang University. I thought it was gone long ago, but I didn't expect that it's still there, and it's Mr. Tan and you guys the company's office, Zheng Xingxin's mother said. Tan Shehen smiled and said, my office is the office of the provost of Qiaxi Academy. I don't know, I have heard about it. That's great, Mr. Tan, it's great here. Zheng Xingxin's mother looked around and praised. Tan Shehen invited her to sit on the sofa. Yao Fen made her a cup of tea, then went out and closed the door. Zheng Xingxin's mother's surname was Ding. Tan Shehen asked, Teacher Ding, please come to me. What's the matter? Zheng Xingxin's mother smiled, looking a little shy. Like Tan Shehen, Zheng Xingxin's mother is also very concerned about Zheng Xingxin's grades, but her concern goes even further. Instead of calling an acquaintance to ask, she goes directly to the education committee every day and waits in the office of her high school colleague. This colleague's classmate is just an ordinary worker, and there are 4 people in an office. Zheng Xingxin's mother occupied one of the 2 wooden chairs in the office when she came and did not leave until 4:30 in the afternoon. There would be no news, so he stood up and left. My colleague's classmates looked bored, but they were too embarrassed to look down on her, and even more embarrassed to drive her away. She was just a lecturer at Zhejiang University, and she was left to sit there while she did her own thing. So as soon as the results of the high school entrance examination came out, my colleagues and classmates breathed a sigh of relief and felt that they were finally relieved. They immediately told Zheng Xingxin's mother, Teacher Ding, that Zheng Xingxin scored 516 points. As soon as she heard the score, Teacher Ding felt cold and felt that it was too low. When she asked about the admission score of Hangzhou No. 2 Middle School, she was told that it happened to be 516. Zheng Xingxin's score was just above the line. Teacher Ding suddenly felt like the world was spinning. She knew the sect well and knew that if you were on the line, there was basically no hope. In a school like Hang No. 2 Middle School, the last few people would definitely be pulled down. Seeing her sudden change in expression, her classmates quickly comforted her and said that her results were very good. The admission scores of Suejun Middle School and Hangzhou High School were both 504. This score was more than enough to get into these 2 schools. Teacher Ding snorted, who wants to go to school in the military and Hangzhou? This snort made my colleagues' classmates very embarrassed. Teacher Ding also woke up and said quickly, I'm sorry, can you help me and say hello to Hang No. 2 Middle School? My colleagues' classmates laughed and said, I am nothing, I don't even make a sound when I talk. The principal of Hang No. 2 Middle School is very awesome, so he won't pay attention to me. Then who among you has said it will work? Teacher Ding asked. Director. Then can you help me talk to your director? Teacher Ding begged. My colleagues and classmates kept shaking their heads, saying, don't dare, I went and said it. Not only was it useless, it would also be counterproductive. Teacher Ding thought that what she said was right. This is really the case. People who talk in vain will only have the opposite effect if they talk too much. Teacher Ding sat there, her mind spinning, and she sorted through all the famous people she knew in her mind. She thought of Xiangnan's mother, Tan Shehen. She looked at the other 3 people in the office and patted them. A classmate of a colleague whispered to her, come out for a moment. I have something to ask you. A colleague's classmate followed Teacher Ding to the corridor outside. Teacher Ding asked anxiously. Do you know what the relationship between Tan Shahen, the general manager of Jinxia Group, and your director is like? Would it be useful if she spoke up? Colleagues and classmates, how do you know the relationship between the general manager of Jinxia Group and their director? However, Jinxia Group is a well-known company in Hangzhou and often sponsors their education committee to organize activities. Their general manager always has a relationship of one kind or another. In the end, the main thing is that she wants to get rid of Teacher Ding as soon as possible. A colleague's classmate told Teacher Ding that this might be useful. Teacher Ding nodded quickly. So, after leaving the Municipal Education Committee, Teacher Ding immediately came to Tan Shahen. Thank you for the reward for reading the book every day, 2 fishes at the top and the third from top to bottom. Thank you book friend 120421012323923923 for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1428. Teacher Ding finally told Tan Shahen her purpose of coming to Tan Shahen. After hearing this, Tan Shahen said with relief. Zheng Xinyan's grades are very good. If he can study in Suizhen or Hangzhou High School, then that's fine too. Many people dare not even think about it. I have never thought that our family Nanan can go to Suizhen or Hangzhou High School. Hi. Teacher Ding smiled and looked at Tan Shahen without speaking. Tan Shahen said, of course, Xiangnan cannot be compared with Zheng Xingxin. Zheng Xingxin has always been the first in the class and has different pursuits. However, there is a question you have thought about. As parents, we cannot ask our children to always be number one. But there will always be the first, right? There will always be someone's child who will be the first. Why can't it be Zheng Xingxin or Feng Xiangnan? Teacher Ding asked, and Tan Shahen was stunned for a moment. Tan Shahen waved her hand and said, we Nanan don't dare, and I don't expect it. You Zheng Xingxin can, but Xingxin mom, do you think this is too much pressure for children? Who doesn't have pressure? Are they the only ones who have pressure? Don't we adults have it? You, Mr. Tan, don't have it? Besides, we have all worked so hard. Only when we have pressure will we be motivated, Teacher Ding said. What you said makes sense, but have you ever thought about it? Zheng Xingxin went to Suizhen and Hangzhou, and her starting point is higher than others. She will be relatively relaxed there, which will be very helpful for her self-confidence. Went to Hangzhou No. 2 Middle School. Xingxin mom, I am not saying that Zheng Xingxin is not good, but I am saying that the top students in the entire Hangzhou area are there, and the competition will be fierce. What if Zheng Xingxin is in the class, and the result of competing with others is that she can only be in the middle? Will this have a blow to her self-confidence? Zheng Xingxin has been used to it since she was a child. If you are number one, if you fail to become number one, you will definitely have a psychological change. This is what the saying goes, it is better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix, Tan Shahen said. That common saying is just lies and nonsense. Teacher Ding frowned and said, why would you rather be a chicken head than a phoenix tail? If you don't know, a phoenix is a phoenix, and a chicken will always be a chicken. You will just be a chicken for 100 years. There is no possibility of becoming a phoenix. When Zheng Xingxin goes to school in the military or Hangzhou, it is certainly possible that she will continue to be the first in the class, but she will be the first in the Suizhen and Hangzhou. If she goes to Hangzhou No. 2 Middle School and rushes, I believe she can also be the first. Yes, this is the first place, but it is the first place in Hang No. 2 Middle School, the first place in Hang No. 2 Middle School, and the first place in Suizhen and Hang High School. Do you think it can be the same? When Teacher Ding said this, she saw Tan Shahen's expression was a little strange. She immediately realized that she had talked too much and said too fast. A chicken is always a chicken. When it comes to Swejun and Hangjeo, it is a chicken. As they said before, Xiongnan even do Swejun and Hanggao didn't dare to think about what happened to them, are they a toad? You have degraded someone else's daughter like this. Are you here to beg someone else? If someone is angry, not to mention not being too lazy to help you, they might even try to spoil your business and say hello, then Zheng Xingxin is dead and will never be able to go to Hangzhou No. 2 middle school. Thinking of this, Teacher Ding felt like a thorn in his back, and he became restless even while sitting. Teacher Ding quickly said, Xiongnan's mother, I'm sorry, what I just said was not directed at Xiongnan at all. Don't think too much about it. Tan Shahen smiled and said, no, we are talking about Zheng Xingxin. Yes, we are talking about Zheng Xingxin, Teacher Ding said quickly. As soon as I heard this situation, I lost my mind. If you are talking nonsense, don't be offended. Yingying's father and I are both serious teacher, we don't know anyone who has a good reputation and can speak effectively, so I'm thinking of you. Mom Xiongnan, our Yingying and Xiongnan are good friends. We also like Xiongnan very much and support Yingying and Xiongnan's play. Mom Xiongnan, I ask you to consider that Zheng Xingxin and Xiongnan are good friends. For my own sake, help Zheng Xingxin. As Teacher Ding spoke, her words became more and more sincere, almost bursting into tears. She said, Xiongnan's mother, you also know that Yingying's father and I are from ordinary families. We don't have any background at home. We just studied hard on our own and got to where we are today. We finally have something to look forward to. From now on, we will just work hard in school and strive to become associate professors and professors. That's it. Teaching is our destiny all our lives. Even if we become professors, so what? It sounds nice to say it, but when it comes in society, who takes you seriously? Our Yingying, don't expect to be able to rely on us. She probably has the only way to study well in her life. She can only rely on herself. She is different from Xiongnan. Xiongnan can do it with your mother. Damn, Zheng Xingxin wanted to count on us two poor teachers, but she couldn't. This is what we have always told her, she can only study hard on her own. Mother Xiongnan, Zheng Xingxin did not do well in the high school entrance examination this time. It was far from what I expected. But for her, this time is indeed the biggest hurdle in her life. Mother Xiongnan, I beg you, help her no matter what, just because she is your good friend Xiongnan, help us Zheng Xingxin. Tan Shahen looked at Teacher Ding and felt that she was nothing like the arrogant person her mother said she was. Looking at her sincere look, Tan Shahen felt a little sad, not only because Zheng Xingxin was Xiangnan's best friend. If she didn't help, Xiangnan would definitely hate herself to death if she found out, but also because she was also a mother. Like Teacher Ding, the mother of a high school entrance examination student who was also anxious just now is relieved now, but she is not yet. Tan Shahen was moved with compassion. She even thought, yes, we really couldn't use Xiangnan's standards to see Zheng Xingxin. She came here for the top 8, and she came for Hangzhou No. 2 middle school. If Zheng Xingyan couldn't go to Hangzhou No. 2 middle school, she would go Swejun middle school, which ranks second, is probably the same as Hang No. 7 middle school, where Xiongnan couldn't even get into the top 8 and had to go to 9th place. Tan Shahen and Teacher Ding said, Xingxin mom, let me try it. I don't know if it will work. I'll make a call first. Teacher Ding said quickly, okay, Mr. Tan will take action. It will definitely work. Their education committee has said that the relationship between the director and you, Mr. Tan, is very good. No one told Teacher Ding that Tan Shahen had a particularly good relationship with the director of the education committee. Her classmates were just perfunctory and said it might work. But when Teacher Ding heard what Tan Shahen said, she understood that she had a relationship. She grabbed this life-saving straw and was willing to let it go. Tan Shahen smiled, picked up the phone on the table, called the office of the director of the education committee, and told her that she wanted to see her if she had something to do. Then come here. I have half an hour. Is that enough? I want to go out in half an hour, the director said. That's enough, I'll be right over, Tan Shahen said. After putting down the phone, Tan Shahen and Teacher Ding said, let's go. I'll take you to the director of the education committee. If you ask about Zheng Xingxin's specific situation, you can tell her. Okay, thank you, Mom Xiangnan, Teacher Ding beamed. The two of them arrived at the parking lot outside and got into Tan Shahen's car. Tan Shahen started the car and turned on the air conditioner. She did not leave immediately. Tan Shahen sat and thought for a while. She said to Teacher Ding, when we get there later, you can tell us that you are our relative and that you are from the south. Tan Shahen was thinking rapidly. She was thinking about some kind of relative relationship. They were very close, but they could separate the two surnames Feng and Zheng. Tan Shahen was indeed very familiar with the director. If they were not close relatives, the director would not politely tell Tan Shahen, don't go into this muddy water. If it is very close, the director will be embarrassed to refuse and not help. Tan Shahen asked, the director of the Municipal Education Commission, doesn't he know you? I don't know him, Teacher Ding shook his head quickly. How could I know the director? Okay, then just say that you are Xiangnan's aunt, Tan Shahen said, don't say too much. What Tan Shahen was thinking was that the names of the students' parents were in the students' file. If the director didn't check the file, this aunt was close enough. If he checked the file and took a look, he would find that Zheng Xingxin's mother's surname was not Feng, but Feng. Ding, if asked, he could also explain that he is his cousin, and this name does not reveal all the surnames. Okay, I will listen to you, Teacher Ding said quickly. Tan Shahen took Teacher Ding to the office of the director of the education committee and told her the matter. She said that the child was a relative of hers and was going to Hangzhou No. 2 middle school and asked her for help. A child of a relative? How come I haven't heard you talk about it before, but I just heard you talk about your family's southward side, the director asked suspiciously. Tan Shahen smiled and said, oh, I never have to worry about studying, I just feel stable. I didn't expect that I didn't perform well this time, but Xiangnan performed beyond his level. I am very satisfied that I can go to the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University. No need to bother with your director, you must help this niece. Is it worth it? The director stared at Tan Shahen and asked bluntly. You can help me, Tan Shahen said. The director picked up the phone on the table, dialed a few numbers, and told the person on the phone, come here. After a while, the office director came in, saw Tan Shahen and smiled, why is it Mr. Tan's business, or is it Feng Xiangnan's business? No, isn't Xiangnan the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University? No problem, Tan Shahen said. Her relatives, what relatives? The director asked. Niece, Tan Shahen said. The director and office director said, Mr. Tan's niece is in the second middle line of Hangzhou. You tell the principal and let them take care of her. Just say it's my wish. Mr. Tan usually supports our education system a lot. The office director said yes, I will implement it. What about the students? Teacher Ding quickly took out a piece of paper written in advance and handed it to the office director. On the paper, Zheng Xingxin's name, gender, admission ticket number, ID number, and the school and class he attended were written. The office director took the paper and went out. Tan Shahen sat and chatted with the director. After a while, the office director came back and told them, okay, a notice will be sent the day after tomorrow. Teacher Ding quickly stood up, bowed to the director and office director and said, thank you, thank you. The director smiled and said, thank you, relative. Teacher Ding was stunned for a moment before she realized that she was talking about Tan Shahen. She turned around and found that Tan Shahen had also stood up and held her hand. The two of them said goodbye to the two directors. The two of them sat in the car, and Teacher Ding was very grateful to Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen smiled and said it was nothing, it was a trivial matter. It's a small thing for you, but it's a big thing for us, Teacher Ding shouted. That's because Zhang Xingxin did well in the exam. If she didn't even get the score, it would be useless for anyone to help, and she wouldn't dare to help Tan Shahen, and Teacher Ding said, Mom Xingxin, I think it's best for you to go back for today's matter. It's better not to tell Zhang Xingxin. If a child knew that he went to school not by his own strength, but by saying hello, would it happen? Teacher Ding nodded, understanding what Tan Shahen meant, and secretly admired her in her heart. After all, she was a person who did big things, and she really considered all aspects of the problem, even taking into account the feelings of the children. Tan Shahen wouldn't tell Xiang Nan about this. She didn't want more things to be mixed into the children's friendship. The results of the high school entrance examination are out. Zheng Xinyan went to Hangzhou No. 2 Middle School, Xiang Nan went to the high school affiliated to Zhejiang University, and Zhou Ruyi went to Xiaoyan Middle School. From here on, the three best friends in junior high school will go their own separate ways. Thank you hoo, poor bookworm, for the reward at 8:30 tonight, 2 fishes at one time, and at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you hoo, Xiaoao, Zi Zhang said, frivolous, don't blow up the ashes, don't buzzard, book friends 201909172026529888, Pingle Village Changle's monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1429. This summer vacation is Xiangnan's most leisurely summer vacation. All the junior high school classes are over, and the high school classes have not started yet, and there is not even any summer homework. In addition to badminton and violin, due to the full preparation for the exam, the time wasted for a long time. Xiang Nan did not pick up the idea of learning again. Tan Shahen also followed her. She felt that the past year, forgetting to eat and sleep in order to prepare for the high school entrance examination, was indeed hard enough. Now that the phased goal has been achieved, it's time for her to relax. At this time, Tan Shahen was most free. The entire real estate market was just like that, tepid. There was no rush for each branch and each project. Everything was slowing down and taking things slowly. The only project in progress is the Dragon family in Hangzhou, but Lao Tan is personally watching the project, so Tan Shahen can rest assured. In addition, the preparations for the listing have been completed, and all they have left is to wait. Even the EMBA class she is taking is very stressful. She has classes on Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes she has to fly to various parts of the country to take classes. During the summer vacation, they actually also had a holiday. Tan Shahen and Lu Ligan said that they wanted to take advantage of this time to take Xiang Nan out to play, but when they reached high school, they had no time. Lu Ligan agreed to give you a month's leave, so you can go. Xiangnan was very free, but Zhang Xiangbei was not. He still had to go to Lin Shuwen's class every day and had no time to go out with them. So, Tan Shahen planned a mother-daughter trip. She and Xiang Nan were planning to go to Japan or Hong Kong, or Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. While they were still planning, Wen Wen called Tan Shahen and told her that there was a director who watched Xiang Nan's performance. There is a role in the movie that I want to invite Xiang Nan to play, Sister Zhen Zhen, how about it? Tan Shahen asked Xiang Nan. As soon as Xiang Nan heard that there was a play, Japan, Hong Kong, New Malaysia, and Thailand, he didn't want to go at all, so he wanted to go to the play. Tan Shahen asked Wen Wen, where should I go to shoot? It's still Hongdian, a costume drama, Wen Wen said. When Tan Shahen and Wenwen were talking on the phone, they pressed the speaker phone, and Xiang Nan heard everything. Tan Shahen looked at her, and she nodded quickly. Tan Shahen said yes, and Xiang Nan went to shoot. Okay, I'll be Xiangnan's agent and finalize it with them, Wenwen said. Tan Shahen agreed, but we don't understand, so you must be the one. Mother and daughter couldn't travel, and He Hongmei and Xiaofang were not here this year, so Tan Shahen decided to accompany Xiang Nan to film. She hadn't been to Hongdian yet, so she thought it would be good to stop by Hongdian and see the crew. I heard that Xiang Nan was going to film again this year, and Zheng Xingxin and Zhou Ruyi also wanted to go. Like Xiang Nan, they had nothing to do at home. Of course there is nothing wrong with Zhou Ruyi's parents. It is accurate to say that Zheng Xingxin's mother, because this time Zheng Xingxin was able to go to Hangzhou No. 2 middle school, it was all thanks to Tan Shahen's help. She also saw Tan Shahen's energy, and felt that Zheng Xingxin had become a close friend. Nan, a best friend, was really paired up, so when Tan Shahen called her and told her that she would accompany her, Teacher Ding immediately agreed. 2 days later, Wenwen flew from Beijing to Hangzhou. Tan Shahen took Xiangnan, Zheng Xingxin, and Zhou Ruyi to pick her up at the airport. After picking her up, the 5 of them drove directly from Xiaoshan Airport to Hongdian. Tan Shahen and the others arrived in Hongdian and stayed at the VIP building hotel. The crew had arrived 2 days ago. In order to save money, they could not afford to stay in the VIP building, but stayed in a hotel not far from here. Tan Shahen and Wenwen sent Xiang Nan to meet the director. The director's room was a 3-person room, but the director lived alone. The other 2 beds were removed. Simmons put them up against the wall, and put the 2 beds in the free space. The writing desks are put together and serve as a conference table, where the director discusses matters and holds meetings with the cast and crew. The director was in his 40s. When they entered, a female assistant director who was about the same age as Wenwen was also here. She was in charge of actors. As soon as Wenwen led them in, the assistant director ran over and hugged Wenwen. Wenwen said to the director, "Yes, you two are together again, and they are a romantic couple again." The assistant director punched Wenwen, but the director didn't take it seriously. He looked at Tan Shahen and asked, "Is this? How is Xiang Nan's mother?" Wenwen asked, "Is Xiang Nan genetically inherited?" The assistant director also looked at Tan Shahen and said, "It really doesn't look like it." "It doesn't look like that yet?" "What's your look?" Wenwen shouted. The assistant director smiled and said, "I mean not like mother and daughter, but like sister." "That's pretty much it, right, Sister Zhen Zhen?" Wenwen asked Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen's face turned red slightly and she quickly said to the assistant director, "Thank you, thank you." The assistant director pulled Xiang Nan over and gave her a movie script. He briefly explained the plot and the role Xiang Nan would play. Then he explained to her which scenes would be shot tomorrow and asked Xiang Nan to tonight. "I learned all the lines by heart." Xiang Nan kept nodding. From the moment Tan Shahen and the others entered the room, the director kept staring at Tan Shahen, which made Tan Shahen feel uncomfortable and nauseated. As soon as Xiang Nan finished here, she pulled Wenwen and Xiang Nan out. As soon as they walked out of the door, the assistant director chased them out again, saying that the director wanted to see Wenwen for something. Tan Shahen asked Wenwen, "Do you want us to wait for you in the lobby?" Wenwen said no, the shabby lobby here doesn't even have air conditioning. It's so hot. You go back to the hotel first and I'll come back by myself. Tan Shahen took Xiang Nan and returned to the VIP building first. When she got to the room, Tan Shahen took the script in Xiang Nan's hand and read it. The assistant director had folded the pages for the scenes that would be shot tomorrow. He also marked them with a pen and wrote the date for tomorrow. Tan Shahen said while watch and explained to Xiang Nan how to act these scenes. Xiang Nan nodded. As Tan Shahen talked, She felt as if she had returned to the theater troupe back then. When it was time to rehearse a new play, she took the script and analyzed it piece by piece. Tan Shahen felt a little dazed. When Wenwen came back, Tan Shahen and Xiang Nan said, "Go to your room and let Zheng Xingxin and Zhou Ruyi help you recite your lines." Xiang Nan agreed and went out with the script. As soon as Xiang Nan went out, Tan Shahen asked Wenwen anxiously, "I think this director is not normal. Is it safe for Xiang Nan to play his movie?" Wenwen smiled and said, "It's your fault, who let you be favored by others?" Tan Shahen said angrily, "What nonsense are you talking about? I'm very upset." Misunderstanding, don't worry, Sister Zhen Zhen, this director is well known in the circle as not a gangster. You see, he and this assistant director have been working together for a long time. They have never slept together. They have to be on other crews. We've gotten together a long time ago, Wenwen said. Sister Zhen Zhen, what do you think they were talking about when they called me back? How do I know? Tan Shahen said angrily. Wenwen smiled and said, "Didn't I tell you before that the director has taken a liking to you, Sister Zhen Zhen, and you calmed him down as soon as you entered? They want you to play a supporting role in it." Gyron, they originally thought of looking for this role here, but they didn't expect to find a suitable one after 2 days of searching. As soon as you entered, he felt that you were suitable and asked you to audition tomorrow. No, I won't go, Tan Shahen said and breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that the other person was staring at her because of this. Why don't you go? If you're free, you're free. If you don't like me, I'll act even if you like me, Wenwen said. Besides, if you are also on the crew, wouldn't it be more convenient to take care of Nan Nan? Tan Shahen made Wenwen feel itchy to say, "Yes, I am bored here by myself with nothing to do. Isn't it just playing a role? Isn't it just acting? Who have you, Tan Shahen, been afraid of in acting?" Sister Zhen Zhen, I don't care. I have already promised you. If you don't go, I can't explain it. I can only promise you with my body. You must give me this face, otherwise our strong man will come looking for revenge on you, Wenwen said. Tan Shahen burst into laughter and said, "Okay, if I don't commit myself to you, I will try it. Isn't it just a test shot? What's the big deal?" Wenwen giggled. The two of them walked to Xiangnan's room. Xiangnan heard that her mother was going to audition tomorrow and immediately cheered. She shouted excitedly to Tan Shahen, "Come on, Mom. You can definitely do it." Zheng Xingxin and Zhou Ruyi looked at Wenwen and said, "Aunt Wenwen, we also want to act. Call me sister. If you call me sister, sister will talk to the assistant director and arrange a passerby for you," Wenwen said. Zheng Xingxin and Zhou Ruyi immediately changed their names to Sister Wenwen. The next day, the 5 people went to the set together. The assistant director arranged for Tan Shahen to put on the noble's clothes and put on makeup. Tan Shahen went to a separate makeup area, and the makeup artist put makeup on for her. People who needed makeup on the scene duo, this makeup artist was probably not very familiar with ancient costumes and was a bit clumsy. Tan Shahen told him that I would do it myself. "Can you do it yourself?" the makeup artist asked, surprised. "I used to be an actor and a theater actor. We did all the makeup and removal ourselves," Tan Shahen said with a smile. The makeup artist was doubtful, but let Tan Shahen do it herself. Tan Shahen had read the script last night and had a good idea of the makeup she should choose for this noble character. When Tan Shahen put on her clothes, put on makeup, and walked over, there was an exclamation of exclamation. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at her. "It's her." The assistant director whispered to the director. The director remained calm. He talked about a scene with Tan Shahen and then asked her to act. Halfway through Tan Shahen's performance, the director shouted to stop. He asked Tan Shahen, "Have you ever acted before?" Tan Shahen said, I was originally an actor, but I only performed in opera. The director nodded, turned around, and nodded again toward the assistant director. The assistant director came over and said to Wenwen, let's make conditions. Wenwen quietly asked Tan Shahen what the conditions were. Tan Shahen smiled and said, I'm just doing it by the way. What conditions there will be, it's all up to you. You are now the manager of our mother and daughter. Okay, leave it to me. Wenwen made an okay gesture. Wenwen and the assistant director walked aside and agreed on all the conditions. Wenwen remembered it and said to the assistant director, there's another one dragging too. Do you see those two kids over there? Give them a chance to perform as a group. Okay, how about dragging the three behind and giving you a chance to be a passerby, the assistant director said with a smile. Go away, I can't afford it, Wenwen scolded. Thank you Zizeng, Jinwulanji, and Shi Yitan for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the reading and votes. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1430. When the filming officially started, Tan Shahen and her daughter became the most serious people in the entire crew. Although they were supporting roles and did not have to shoot many scenes every day, they still arrived at the crew very early, put on their costumes, put on makeup, and waiting there, just in case they need to come on stage, the director will say hello and they can come on stage immediately. It was very hot in Hongdian, Dongyang in July, and they were filming a costume film. They wore so many clothes, and even if they sat there motionless, they would be sweating after a while. Tan Shahen transferred a Toyota van from Hangzhou. It felt better to park on site so they could wait in the car when they were ready. At the beginning, everyone looked at them and thought they were a little strange. They thought, aren't they just a supporting role, and are they being used in such a serious manner? Tan Shahen and Xiang Nan said seriously that whether it is a leading role or a supporting role, we will either not play it. Now that we are here to play it, even if there is only one scene, we must be fully prepared in advance. This way, when you go on stage, you will feel confident. You have to respect this character, and this character will respect you. Besides, which actor didn't come from a small role? My mother started from a small role before. As an actor, if you can't even play a small role well or play a supporting role well, how can you play the leading role well? I don't know how these words reached the director's ears, and he greatly appreciated it. He told Wenwen that it was a pity that they were not professional actors. If they were professional actors, they would definitely be able to get ahead. Their energy. That is to say, with this energy, whether it is Tan Shahen or Xiang Nan, their shots are basically done in one shot, which saves the crew a lot of work and wins everyone's respect. On the scene, everyone calls Tan Shahen Sister Tan. The director also often tells other actors that you all must learn from Sister Tan. An amateur can be so serious. For those of you who want to make acting a lifelong career, not being serious will only make people look down on you. Tan Shahen was top-notch in both appearance and acting. The director looked at the monitor and whispered to the assistant director, saying that after the film is released, the most outstanding person will definitely be this noble person. The heroine of this play is a popular girl. She often arrives late and leaves early on the set. Her catchphrase is, in such a hot weather, it's too hot for others. I don't want to act in this play. It's the director who begged our agent. The agent still owed him a favor, so he came here. Not only did this girl arrive late and leave early, she also often forgot her lines on set. The director became angry and asked, "What are you doing at night? Don't you memorize your lines?" While filing her nails with a nail file, the girl snorted disdainfully and said, Then you go ask the producer. Who asked him to ask me to have dinner with people in the city last night? I'm not happy yet, go. The director was worried, but there was nothing he could do about it. The current film and television market is supported by such unscrupulous people. The audience only cares about your face, and who cares about your acting skills? As for her face, she is not as good looking as Sister Tan's face. When the camera zooms in on Sister Tan's face, it is really a pleasure to look at it, the photographer said angrily. On the set, you have to do it over and over again. Whether it's drama management, lighting, props, makeup, photography, everyone has to accompany you over and over again, and they all have complaints in their hearts. The photographer's words spread like wildfire among the crew. Everyone is whispering, saying that it's really better to ask Sister Tan to play the leading role in this play. These words also reached the ears of the popular girl. She was so angry that when she was acting opposite Tan Shahen, she kept finding faults with her and deliberately made things difficult for her. Everyone else saw it and thought she was going too far. But there is nothing you can do about it. On this day, the girl finally finished taking a photo and got into her car. Ween Wen also got in the car. The girl knew Ween Wen and knew that he was a ruthless character, but she still asked, "What are you doing here?" "Teach you how to behave," Ween Wen said bluntly. The girl became anxious at that time and shouted, "Get down, get down, get down here." Ween Wen sat down and smiled slightly. She said, "It's easy for me to go down, but I'm afraid it won't be so easy for you to come to me if you beg me again." The manager heard something in Ween Wen's words and pulled the girl to stop her. He told Ween Wen that he had something to say. Ween Wen smiled and said, "If you want to speak well, I will speak well. I just want to tell you that if Sister Tan can play the leading role, it is just someone to relieve her anger and pass it on. I tell you, even if Sister Tan plays the role, she will also I can't act, I don't have the time." But Ween Wen looked at the girl and said, "If you bully others too much, then please listen to me clearly. From today on, we will invest in whichever drama invites you, and in the end you will be helpless. The play can be performed, you can go find out who Sister Tan is and see if we have the ability." After Ween Wen finished speaking, she got out of the car. Standing at the door of the car, she turned around and said to the girl, "You must apologize to Sister Tan for what happened today. Otherwise, I will talk to the producer tomorrow. We will double the investment and invest in this drama. The condition is to let you go. Let's see if the producer does it. Don't you also want to act? Then it will be just right for you." Ween Wen left, and the people in the car looked at each other in confusion. The agent was a sensible person. He had long felt that the Sister Tan was almost never heard of in the circle, but seeing her coming and going every day with a BMW and a Toyota van every day. The waiters on the set looked like they were well-connected people, so they couldn't be unknown. The agent asked for Sister Tan's name from the assistant director and entered the three characters Tan Shahen into the computer. A lot of news appeared on the screen. After reading it, he felt that what Ween Wen said was true and she was not trying to scare them. Ultimately, investment determines everything in the entertainment industry. If you offend such a person, if they are cruel, they may really make you unable to act in any film. The girl walked closer to Tan Shahen. Although she was reluctant, she still had red eyes and said to Tan Shahen, "Sister Tan, I'm sorry." Tan Shahen didn't know what was going on. She didn't know why this domineering little girl suddenly lowered her attitude and came to say sorry to herself. Tan Shahen said with a smile, "It's nothing, everyone is here for work, and there will always be conflicts of one kind or another at work. Let's just continue and cooperate well." The girl nodded and reached out to hold Tan Shahen's hand, looking pitiful. Tan Shahen and the others stayed in Hongdian for almost a month. When they returned to Hangzhou, Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen were leaving for Sanya. Zhang Chen and his friends are preparing to open a night stall on the top floor of the Banmuishan Hotel. Lu Ligan heard that they are going to restore the glory of the Lion Tower in Hiken in Sanya. Wherever they can hold back, they must go and have a look. He and Zhang Chen he said, I also want to go and see your tropical botanical garden. I don't know how it is doing now. Just listening to what you say is helpful. Zhang Chen couldn't defeat him and agreed to go to Sanya with him. Lu Ligan took out his phone and said he wanted to make a call. What do you want to do? Zhang Chen asked. When going to Sanya, it's fun to go with two people, Lu Ligan said. You can't hold it in anymore, can you? Zhang Chen scolded. Lu Ligan chuckled. Zhang Chen said, don't lead the bad guy to bad things. Now, among so many people, I think he and Wu Ziyawai are the most peaceful. No, 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 if this person doesn't want to be bad, he won't be able to lead him bad, Lu Ligan shouted. Lu Ligan not only called Erhuo, but also called Meng Ping. As soon as Meng Ping heard that he was going to Sanya, he shouted, okay, I'm worried that I have nothing to do. I'm going to grow hairy if I stay in Nanjing, walk around. Meng Ping and Erhuo both drove to Hangzhou first, and then the four of them went from Hangcheng to Sanya together. In Zhang Chen's office, four people met together. Meng Ping was very emotional when he saw the second-rate guy. He and Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said, I can't believe that 10 years ago, in Hiken, the four of us said, 10 years later, the three of us will all be old bachelors, and only second-rate men have married. No one will believe it, right? Lu Ligan laughed, and Zhang Chen cursed, I'm different from you, don't drag me into the water. The idiot looked sideways at Meng Ping and Lu Ligan, and said proudly, you just think too much and are forced to do so. I don't think as much as you do. I got married when I met the right one. Now it's not very good. You, Lao Meng, who was raised by force, has delayed Qianfang's life, and you are the same, you have almost turned Tan Shahen into an old woman. Meng Ping and Lu Ligan were a little uncomfortable being talked about by the idiot. Zhang Chen laughed on the side. The idiot looked at him and said, don't laugh either. Instructor, after my aunt is gone, everyone feels that he Hung Mei it suits you very well, why did I let you fly? You are a bitch, you are so pretentious. This time, it was Lu Ligan and Meng Ping's turn to laugh. Meng Ping said, okay, you idiot. It's better for you to live and understand that we are ashamed of ourselves. That's what I was forced to raise. Just look at you. You still have a few more years of trouble, the idiot scolded. Zhang Chen sat there and looked at the other three people. He also felt that the words of the second-rate guy were rough and unreasonable. Among the four of them, the one who could afford to put them down the most was the second-rate guy. He is the truly ruthless character. Zhang Chen told Meng Ping and Lu Ligan about his idea. Lu Ligan shouted, not bad, you idiot. I didn't expect you to be the winner in life. You are those who are winners but are not winners, you are forced to raise your children. You just like to gamble your life. When you gamble, you will look forward and backward, and think about things. You don't know that this life is for living, not for thinking, and it is not for gambling. Yeah, there's no point in winning or losing if you don't gamble. I'm a forced child. I just think it's good to have someone like me when I go out and someone to call me daddy when I go home. You too, the idiot looked at Meng Ping and Lu Ligan and asked, when you go out, does anyone care about you? Does anyone call you dad when you come home? Stop it, you idiot, if you keep talking, you will make us feel ashamed, Meng Ping shouted. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at one time and 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you, Zi Zhang said, SDTWK, book friends 202009031727593111, why can't you change your name, Humor Tribe, Zixi Zi, Old Street Strangers monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1431. Zhang Chen and the four of them arrived in Sanya. That night, the night stall on the top floor of the Banmuishan Hotel on Renmin Road opened without any advertising. Cao Minfang and Zhang Chen said that this hotel relied on word of mouth and was attracted by advertising. If you come here once, there won't be a second time. In such a small place, Sanya is really good and spreads quickly. That night, although it was open, it was not officially open to the public. Everyone who came with hospitality coupons. The related households and old customers they invited, Cao Minfang and Zhang Chen said, they can't do it tonight, okay. I'll watch it starting tomorrow night. She was giving Zhang Chen a vaccination. After dinner, Zhang Chen and the four of them went for a walk on the beach outside. When they returned to the lobby of the hotel, Lu Ligan looked at the second-hand goods and said, is there any stock? We can't just spend the night with the four monks tonight all night? The fool is right, this night of old wine, it is interesting to drink flower wine. There is no stock, forced to raise, there is no ding-dong anywhere in the world, I will go find it for you, you wait here. The second guy drove out. The three people here were all suspicious. Zhang Chen said, where can I find ding-dong in Sanya? I have been to Sanya so many times and I have never seen it once. The second-rate guy went out for half an hour and came back. To their surprise, he really brought back four women. Zhang Chen looked at these four women. All of them were about 1.7 meters tall, with good temperament and appearance, and they didn't look like ding-dong. When asked, they all said that they were models. The second-rate guy quietly told them that he was a model who was raised by force, but he was not ding-dong. After the Sanya New Silk Road model contest, there were a large number of such people in Sanya. How could they make a living without being raised by others? Lu Ligan was surprised. He asked the second-rate guy, why haven't I found these beauties several times since I came here? You haven't been to Sanya for a few years. Where did you find them? Zhang Chen and Meng Ping also felt strange. Even if they saw these four women on the street, they would not think that they were the kind of people who could just come and go when they were called. Why did you find them? The idiot laughed and said, I drove around in the street and could smell who was doing this. Are you a humming police dog? Zhang Chen cursed. The second-rate guy said that he can't smell other things, but this one, I can really smell it when I smell it. Meng Ping laughed and said, you are a professional manager. 8 people arrived at the upstairs of Banmuishan Hotel, and there happened to be a table. Lu Hong left a table for them. When they arrived upstairs at about 11 o'clock, the upstairs was already full of seats, and the performance on the stage had already begun. When the 4 girls arrived, they all said that this place was great, much better than the Chun Yuan seafood stall. The quality at Chun Yuan was too low, and they said they would come here more often in the future. You idiot, you're right, bring those people here and kill them. You, the girls giggled and cursed. Zhang Chen paid close attention to the reactions of the surrounding tables and found that all of them were in high spirits. Zhang Chen also felt confident. He saw Lu Ligan staring at the stage. What was being performed on the stage was Peking opera, so far away and the surrounding environment is so noisy, it is impossible to hear what is being sung. Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan, what are you looking at? Lu Ligan turned back to look at him, his eyes a little confused. Lu Ligan said, Zhang Chen, do you still remember the night we left Yongchang? On the Jo Fang of the theater troupe, we and teacher Wu and Su what the teacher and others said may have been a joke at the time, but I have never forgotten those words. Zhang Chen listened, and his heart skipped a beat. He knew that what Lu Ligan was talking about was that night, they joked that if Hainan became prosperous in the future, they would invite a troupe to perform in Hainan. At the time, it was just a joke, and it was also a bit of a show of wealth. Don't forget each other. After so many years, Zhang Chen has indeed not forgotten each other, because Feng Logui is now the leader of the group, and Lu Ligan has almost completely lost contact with the group, but Zhang Chen has always been in contact, and he still sponsors some money from the group every year. But for people like Teacher Wu who have been acting all their lives, not only money can solve the problem. For them, the most painful thing is probably that there is no drama to act in, and there is no place that will invite them to perform, right? When an actor leaves the stage, it's like a fish leaving the water. Now that I have such a venue, and during dinner, the restaurant below can still perform, isn't it time to fulfill my promise back then and invite them to perform? In addition, Wu opera is very noisy in nature, so it is very suitable to perform in such an occasion. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "You reminded me when you said it. I will call them tomorrow to see if they are interested in coming." "Bullshit, it doesn't matter what you're interested in. We sing for dead people. It's just this stage. It's their chance to perform. Zhang Chen, let me remind you, let them perform according to the market. Let Cao Minfang and them talk, don't be flattering, at most come and treat them to a meal. If they can't survive such a good condition, then the troupe should be disbanded." Lu Lizan said. Meng Ping could hear what they were talking about. Meng Ping was right, what Zhuangzi said made sense. "Zhang Chen, you can protect him for a while, but not for a lifetime. Only if they have this ability can they survive." After finishing their supper, the 8 of them went back to the Banmushan Resort Hotel. As soon as they arrived at the lobby, Meng Ping and Zhang Chen excused themselves as they were too full and wanted to go for a walk on the beach in front, and through the 4 women to Lu Ligan and Erkuo. They walked through the front garden to the beach. The 2 of them were walking on the beach and smoking. After a while, the idiot came to them. Zhang Chen and Meng Ping were both surprised and asked, "What are you doing here? Where are those people?" "Forcing them, I put them all in the pole room and let them fight the 4 kingdoms. Isn't the pole going to be enjoyable? Just let him have enough," the second-rate guy said. "I told them that I will get him in one go." "Afraid?" Zhang Chen and Meng Ping laughed, and Meng Ping asked, "You idiot, have you really quit?" "I feel itchy in my heart, but I don't dare. I'm afraid that if I go back sick, I'll lose more than I gain. These people are worse than Ding Dong, who knows how to protect the guy who eats. They don't know how to protect themselves. They are forced to raise them. If I get sick, my whole life will be over, and my wife will fight me to the death." The second-rate scolded, making Zhang Chen and Meng Ping laugh so hard that they couldn't stand upright. The 3 of them sat down on the beach. Meng Ping sighed. He said that every time he came to Hainan, he was very emotional. Thinking about his past, he didn't know where he got the courage. "Zhang Chen, let me tell you, in the past few years, I really feel that I have less and less fighting spirit. If I have to endure such hardship again, I can't do it, so I feel that if I keep messing around, I might as well find a place to stay quietly." "That's because your life has been better. If you were still as poor as before and were raised by force, would you have no fighting spirit? You still have to stay quietly and have no worries about food and clothing. Only then will you have the conditions to stay quietly. Otherwise, I can only starve to death quietly." The bastard scolded, and both Zhang Chen and Meng Ping laughed. Meng Ping said, "Yes, bastard, you can be my life mentor now." The next morning, it was already past 9 o'clock when Zhang Chen woke up. He leaned on the bedside, finished smoking a cigarette, picked up the mobile phone on the bedside table, and called the Yongcheng Wu Opera Troupe's office. Feng Logui answered the call. Zhang Chen told him the matter and told him that there would be no problem in coming here to perform for 2 months every year. "Then let's go to Wenzhou for a tour in the early years." Feng Logui was happy when he heard it, and said to Zhang Chen, "And it's still in the same place, and there's no need for a transition." "Zhang Chen, that's great, I'm still here. I'm worried that there will be no performance and people will disperse soon." "Well, Logui, you call Teacher Wu and Teacher Su over and discuss it. If everyone agrees to perform, I will call you in an hour and ask the general manager here to discuss the specific performance with you. Regarding the contract, she also came from a theater company, and she understands the theater's routine very well, Zhang Chen said. Feng Logui said yes, everyone would definitely agree. There was no performance, and everyone was itching in their hearts even though they didn't say anything. Okay, Logui, I'll call back in an hour, Zhang Chen and Feng Logui said. Zhang Chen got up, went to CAO Minfang's office first, and told CAO Minfang about the matter. He told CAO Minfang that anyway, any conditions for other performance groups to come here should be given to them. Don't be special. By the way, they come and go. I'll pay for the travel expenses, you don't have to think about it. CAO Minfang said yes. Zhang Chen stood up and said to CAO Minfang, I will go have breakfast first, and when I come back later, I will call them and you can talk to them. CAO Minfang nodded. Zhang Chen went to the restaurant and saw Lu Ligan and the four women eating breakfast at the same table. Zhang Chen was about to turn around and leave when Lu Ligan saw him and stopped him. Zhang Chen had no choice but to go over, sit down, and tell Lu Ligan about his phone call with Feng Logui. Zhang Chen ate a little in a hurry, then excused himself to call the group and left. Zhang Chen walked to the lobby below, sat and smoked a cigarette, and checked that the time was almost up. He stood up and was about to go upstairs. When he saw Meng Ping and the second-rate guy coming in from the outside, Zhang Chen said curiously, "This is so early in the morning, you guys are going out to do this?" "Well," Meng Ping said, "I asked this life mentor to give me a lecture." The idiot scolded, "You are forced to raise me." We went to the restaurant and saw 4 life instructors giving lectures to the pole. We escaped and went to Jinling Resort for breakfast. Zhang Chen laughed. Zhang Chen arrived at CAO Minfang's office, sat down, and called Feng Logui's office. In Feng Logui's office, not only Teacher Wu and Teacher Su were there, but Suji and I also ran away after hearing that there was another performance. They came over, and as soon as the phone call came through, they were chattering on the phone, rushing to say hello to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen saw that CAO Minfang was sitting across from him and kept smiling. Zhang Chen was curious. He covered the microphone with one hand and asked CAO Minfang, "Why are you laughing? Do you feel very friendly?" CAO Minfang said, "I called the troupe and it was the same. The people in the troupe are just different from other places. I still miss them." Zhang Chen nodded, and he told Feng Logui that going to Hainan is not as good as going to Wenzhou. Just let the express company consign the props. Set a time, Logui, and you can send a list of people coming and their ID numbers to me. Let me book your air tickets from Hangzhou to Sanya. When the other end of the phone heard this, he became excited again. Teacher Su shouted, "I have never flown on an airplane in my entire life, and I didn't expect that I would be able to get on an airplane this time." "That's great." Zhang Chen said with a smile, "Lao Gui, you can discuss the specific performance contract with Mr. CAO. Feng Logui said yes. Zhang Chen handed the phone to CAO Minfang and walked out. Meng Ping and the others were still waiting for him downstairs, planning to go to the tropical botanical garden together. Thank you for your monthly votes from Dao Duweng, Shiyo 1601052333233843, Lao Huang, and Shiyo 201701130912185553. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.